Laura says she's ready. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Irv Portis. I'm the Assistant Director of Nebraska Emergency Management Agency. Thank you for coming out today. And thank you, Governor, for the action that we're going to take this afternoon. That action is two proclamations. One's a proclamation declaring an emergency for the Plum Creek Fire in Brown County. The other one is a statewide proclamation related to drought conditions and ongoing conditions that caused the governor to issue an executive order related to a burn ban. I'm going to let him explain that a little further. We have with us today, I'm going to start down here, Laura Field, the Executive Vice President, Nebraska Cattlemen, John Erickson, Nebraska Forest Service. John is the State Forester. Sherry Vinton, Nebraska Department of Agriculture, the Director. Doug Hobine, the interim Nebraska State Fire Marshal. And Chiefs, you got to help me, names. Joel Cherney, Linwood Fire Department.
And I'm Kenny Crosby from Fairbury, District Director for the State Volunteer Firefighter Association.
Okay, thank you, Chiefs, for being here. Lieutenant Colonel Shane Varica, I didn't mean to demote you, Shane.
That's all right. I'm still getting paid.
Colonel Shane Varica is Chief of Joint Staff, Nebraska National Guard, and of course Governor Pillen. You know, a couple of reasons here. So I'm going to begin with just a basic situation report on the Plum Creek Fire in Brown County. This fire started on Monday just north of Johnstown in very, very challenging topography. Originally estimated to be about several hundred acres, grew to about 2,000 acres in the first day. Over the course of the last 3 days, there have been over 50 volunteer fire departments fighting this fire with aerial assets, including two single engineer tankers, one dispatched they're both dispatched by the Bureau of Indian Affairs out of South Dakota, one stationed temporarily in Ainsworth, so it's close, the other one in northern South Dakota. Over the course of the last 2 days, those seats have made about 20 drops of retardant, roughly 16,000 gallons of retardant on that fire. Today we deployed also two Nebraska National Guard UH-60s Blackhawks with Bambi buckets, and they've made 70 drops of water today on those fires. And today, right now, we've got about 25 volunteer fire departments. The fire, we're estimating just under 10,000 acres, 0% contained, even though we've been working on this thing for about 3 days. We meaning the volunteer fire departments and the folks on scene. So we've got an active fire, several residential structures threatened, one structure damaged, not a primary residence, but also multiple head of cattle killed from the fire. So significant reason for make all effort to get this fire contained and under control. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Governor Pillen.
Well, thank you, Irv, and let me just say thank you to everybody within Nebraska Emergency Management Team for all your work. I'm out here when there's crisis and challenges, and you're always here, and you're always working your tails off. So on behalf of Nebraska, I want to say thank you. Want to certainly thank the fire chiefs of the volunteer firefighters for being here. We all agree our volunteer firefighters across the great state of Nebraska are the heart and soul of our communities. One of the reasons, we have 50 communities of firefighters that they're exhausted. And oh, by the way, they probably have a bunch of mama cows at home that they need to take care of, plant corn, and they're giving it up for their communities and have been doing it for 48 hours, and this fire has absolutely zero containment. Also, a gigantic shout out to our brothers and sisters of the National Guard, Air Army National Guard, and without a couple Chinooks flying up and doing work, we probably have no chance. So that work is monumental. I think that there's a couple things that is important to share to Nebraska today from a historical perspective. It is so dry in Nebraska, we think it's normal. It's so dry in Nebraska, we think it's normal. And us farmers and ranchers, we want everything to be perfect on our farm, and we want to burn our trees, and we want to do these burns. And it's not normal. It's way too dry, and it doesn't make any sense. And it only takes one burn, one mistake, and the one that took place yesterday really made no sense. It took place. It's easy to, I'm not being Monday morning quarterback. I'm just saying that the risks are so significant. Today, the wind is not blowing in Nebraska today, but it's still an extraordinary risk because it's so dry. Somebody thinks we could go burn, the wind comes up and everything breaks loose. So fundamentally, I'm like most Nebraskans, don't like to be told by government what to do. I can tell you that making this decision, myself and our team haven't lived in a hole. We've talked to a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of folks across the state today. And at the end of the conversation, each person said, please put a ban on, because 20 of us got it. It just takes one person, and if they burn their place down, okay, but it doesn't work that way. It extends and extends. And then, I think if you look at historically, just remember back, Irv, in February. I mean, never before in the history of the state have we had burns, fires start in February. And if you remember the last week of February, it got really warm. We had snow on the ground. And fundamentally, we think we got snow on the ground, so it's wet. Well, the wind was blowing 60 mile an hour. The snow melted in a day. The wind is blowing 60 mile an hour. And the next day, everything's dry as toast. And so then I think we had 16 controlled burns that got out of control, and we had fires absolutely everywhere. So from my seat today, probably for Nebraska farmers and ranchers, my only regret would maybe be to not have done this sooner. The fire that's going on and the 50 volunteers that are firefighting groups, they shouldn't have to be going through that. So, two things today. We're declaring all of Nebraska an emergency declaration, and that we would do a fire burn everywhere. And don't know when that time will be, but I think what we do know, hey, we're all excited. Our phones are telling us it's going to rain in the next 24 to 48 hours. But seriously, if we get a half inch of rain, that's not hardly getting the concrete dry or concrete wet. So, we just need to use good common sense. We need to protect our land. As the governor of Nebraska, it's really important that we protect agriculture, we grow agriculture, and we sell agriculture. And this is a big play on protecting our land, protecting our farmers and our ranchers across the state. So hopefully it'll be in short of a period of time. We need Mother Nature to get on our side, and we need to get drenched. We need a tsunami. So if Nebraskans want to pray for a tsunami, I think we'd take that, right, or a drenching rain. So again, I want to just thank everybody. We don't say thank you enough. The heroic work that's going on, and again, Irv, you and your team's work, and National Guard, stand by, ready. Everybody's going and dropping a lot of water today. So we're confident that we can get under control. And then we're not talking about we're not going to worry about the resources, but obviously, I think we have five planes in the air to deal with the fire today. It takes a lot. We don't need to have that happen in 5 different other places across the state. So those would be a lot of the things I think that are really important. And again, this is an exception to the rule. It's so dry, it's not normal, and I think a lot of us think it is normal, and we need to stand in and ban the burns until it makes sense. So I thought it's important that we get that rolling. So I think what we can do is go ahead and Shane, you come on up and explain what's everybody at the National Guard's doing.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Governor. First, I want to thank our soldiers and airmen for volunteering for this mission. Currently, we have 29 Army and Air National Guard, 19 Army, 10 Air National Guard, and as Irvin, the governor, said, we have a couple Blackhawks flying around. Currently, right now, we've done 70 drops, about 50,000 gallons, and as the governor stated, we're doing all we can. We're still not getting containment, so we'll keep fighting and keep doing the things that need to be done. I also want to take the opportunity to thank the families and the employers of these soldiers and airmen, because they're not able to do what they do without the support of those folks. I also want to thank the communities of Ainsworth and Valentine for the support they're giving our soldiers and airmen. They're supporting them with lodging and food and all the things they need to do so that they can be effective on this fire. Our aircraft arrived in Ainsworth around 10:27 this morning, and they started engaging the fire about 12:34. So just in the small amount of time, we were able to put 50,000 gallons in that short amount of time. So unless there's anything else, Irv, that's all I have. Thank you.
You know, we've got National Guard, but we've also got volunteer firefighters all across this state who are constantly responding to these. Chiefs, anything you would like to add to that?
I would just like to say on behalf of the Nebraska State Volunteer Firefighters Association, we appreciate the action the governor's taken to help take a little bit of load off the local fire chiefs and help them to get on with their lives. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Chief.
And then Fire Marshal Hobein and John Erickson, Nebraska State Forester, anything you want to say regarding the conditions that give rise to this?
Sure, thanks, Eric. And I too would like to recognize all the folks that are out there fighting the fire. Some of those folks have spent a lot of hours in the last few days away from their homes, away from their families, trying to help their neighbors. And you know, that's kind of what Nebraska is about, is neighbors helping neighbors. But a situation like this, you know, they're literally putting their lives on the line every day as they're out there. You know, this year has been an unusual year from the aspect of wildfire. You know, end of February, we're fighting wildfires that are in the thousands of acres, and this isn't normal for the state of Nebraska. And really it goes back to last year and what was happening in December and January with the lack of moisture that we all saw during that time really set us up for a situation where the soil moisture just wasn't there. There wasn't any soil moisture. And then we have a really dry snow, dropped 5, 6, 10 inches in places, and it only has, you know, 0.05 of an inch associated with that snow. So that further compounds the issue. But if you look at Nebraska as a whole, over 90% of our fires are caused by us and different things that we're doing. If you look over the last 25 years, burning, prescribed burning or debris burning is one of the chief causes. It's about 35% of all of our fires. This year we've had about 172 fires associated with some sort of prescribed burn. That's about 55% of all the fires we've had so far this year. And counting this fire here, we're about 55,000 acres of fires burned associated with this. And again, that gets back to this idea, there's no soil moisture, piles hold fire longer, and it creates a situation where 2 weeks later that fire takes off and it's off to the races. The other thing we're seeing too is when we look at the fuel moistures out there, so this is the dead sticks on the ground, to think about it, and it's really something less than an inch. You know, the fuel moistures are 5-6%, which is very low for going into spring. You know, that's something that you'd normally see in the hottest day of August or September. The 1 to 3 inch material is down in that 8% range, and again, that is something that'll just take off in a heartbeat. And even the stuff that's over 3 inches in diameter, that stuff's under 15%. Again, that burns very quickly, so it just takes one little spark from any source to take off, especially on these windy days that we've had this spring. So, just one more shout out for all the folks that are out there. It takes a lot of folks to deal with this situation. We've got, as you see up here, fire departments from all over the state supporting this effort and trying to help people around Johnstown there. So, thank you.
Okay. Director Venn? Oh, Doug, come on.
All right, I kind of want to just reiterate what's already been said with thanks for everybody that's out there. We've got a lot of people on the front line doing their thing. We've got a wildland response team, our YRAT team, that spends a lot of time on these situations, helping as well. When you think about it, 25 volunteer fire departments, and out in that area of the state, that's a long way for some of these folks to travel. And we're finding this early in the season that it's going to stretch resources and personnel pretty thin as we move forward, because it's taking 25 departments to handle this fire, but about the next one and the next one after that. So I appreciate the actions that have been taken today by the governor. I think it's important for these fire departments to know that, and some of these fire chiefs, it kind of takes a burden off of them to not have to say no to people that really want to burn for different reasons. It's now the governor's signature that takes care of that. So we're pleased with that action that's been taken. And again, thank all those that are putting in that hard work on the front lines, and all those that we're talking about today here too. So thank you for your time.
Director Venn?
Good afternoon. On behalf of our state's farmers and ranchers and agricultural producers, once again, a heartfelt thank you, and we owe a deep debt of gratitude to the volunteer firefighters, to our National Guard, to our emergency managers that are literally putting their lives on the line. If you've never been in a wildfire in tough conditions, in difficult terrain like this in the hills, it is a terrifying situation, and they truly are putting their lives on the line. As Director of Agriculture and a rancher myself, I support a statewide burn ban at this time. While fire is a tool that we use in our agricultural operations and for conservation, right now our current conditions make it just too dangerous. Protecting our land, our livestock, wildlife, and most importantly, people and our neighbors and our communities from the potential of wildfire damage is of utmost importance right now. So I would just say safety must come first. And once again, thank you to everyone that's fighting this fire.
Thank you, Director. And then Laura Field, Nebraska Cattlemen.
Thanks, Irv, and thanks, Governor, for including us today. I want to echo what most everyone behind me has said. We are really thankful today for those first responders. The Governor mentioned it. Many of those are ranchers who are dealing with things on their own operations and taking time away. So we're really thankful for their abilities. We're also sending our heartfelt prayers to those ranchers who are impacted. You see the numbers on the screen. We've been in conversations with some of our members and friends who are in the path of this fire. So we are praying for them, for their safety. The loss of livestock, fences, and all of that is so difficult. We've seen the devastation of fires over the last few years and years before that. So we know how hard it is for those members to deal with. And we know that as these dry, windy, warmer days are starting, we have a responsibility to watch the weather and to be very mindful of what we're doing on our operations. So we are encouraging our rancher friends and neighbors to do the same thing. We really want to thank the Governor for holding this important press conference. We also support the actions taken. We know it's important to protect the environment and the operations that our members are working on. So One thing that we always see during these times is it's very humbling to watch the agriculture community come together to support each other. So we expect that to be the case here. We stand ready to help with that and appreciate being part of it today. So thank you, Governor.
Thanks, Lou. Thanks for being here.
You also want to recognize Senator Storer.
Yeah. Well, maybe the last thing that I think we should end it on is the greatest part of Nebraska, right? It's the people. It's the people coming forward and doing what we do. And I think that's the other piece that's so critical to do this ban, because in 22, with all the dangerousness of what goes on in 22, there were 2 losses of life. Fortunately, in the last 2.5 years, we haven't. And that's the other piece, because these are dangerous, and that we can stop burning. We get the right side on odds. I'd like to thank Senator Storer for being out here, and obviously it's a big deal for your countryside and for your part of the state. So thanks for your support being here. So with that, Secretary Edmund, let's sign. We'll do a couple proclamations for the emergency declarations, and then the emergency order. Executive Order 2508 is the burn permit suspension. No burn of any type. And Executive Order 2507 is the dynamic pricing. Thank you for being here, Secretary.
Happy to discharge my duty, Governor.
Good to see you. Excuse me? Yeah. I'm sorry. Any questions? Thank you.
Aaron Bonnerson from Public Media News. I had a report from NEMA saying that this was a game and parks prescribed burn. Can you confirm whether that's true?
So yeah, I called Director McCoy yesterday. That's a non-code agency that is run by the Game and Parks Board that's appointed by the governor. I called Director McCoy, and he told me exactly what took place, that there was a landowner that wanted to do the burn and did it in coordination with Game and Parks. It was run by the landowner, and that's just straight up as it is. And I think that to give people an idea how incredibly dry and how high of a risk these are that make no sense, somebody's going to be uptight about it. But it makes no sense. I actually had several volunteer firefighting vehicles out, so they had the resources there. Wind pops, and it got away. So just a perfect example, there should not have been a burn. And I'm not being a Monday morning quarterback, just should not have been a burn yesterday, or 2 days ago. It's that simple.
Just to be clear, can you kind of list off all those declarations again, what all the things that you just signed were?
Yeah, so maybe make it really, really simple. So we've done emergency declaration for the state, and then with that, then we did the executive order for controlled burn suspensions of all kinds. Whether there's a number of different ones, we're putting a burn ban on everything.
Okay, thank you.
You mentioned difficult terrain and fighting this fire. Is it, as it was said, hills, grassy area? What are we seeing on the ground in these acres that have been burned so far?
What you're seeing on there is, and you can look at the topography, it's incredibly challenging topography. It's deep ravines, canyons, surrounded on the northern edge with water leading up to the river. But it is very, very challenging terrain. The only real way to work a fire in terrain like this is from the air. It is very taxing on those on the ground. Chiefs, anything you want to add to that?
Most of the terrain would be 50, 100-foot cliffs up and down, and maybe on a good day you could climb it, but fighting fires and getting in it. I mean, you get down in it, the risk, it's just not possible. Yes, sir.
I saw some reports from the local fire department that it was closer to 24,000 acres. And this is 6,000. Is this the most updated number, or what's the?
This is the most updated number. Again, let's talk about the topography. When you're working that topography on the ground, you're estimating. Today we did an aircraft flight with and mapped it with digital technology to get a more accurate map of the perimeter and then the area within that perimeter. So we've downsized it from 20,000 to what we think is accurate, just under 7,000, but still all within that dangerous topography.
And I really compliment Irv and his team and the technology. I think we've been saying, it's important we get rid of opinions and adjectives and focus on the facts and the truth and the data. So yeah, we were here, and it was 30,000 acres, not with zero containment. So this data is the most accurate, but obviously it's a very, very difficult terrain to get under control right now.
And we're still at 0% containment.
So you said this started because of a prescribed burn on Monday?
Yes.
And I guess I want to...
It started from a prescribed burn where the conditions just caused it to escape the control.
Sure. Is there a reason why that burn was given the green light, given the drought conditions we're seeing right now?
It's a local decision based on the circumstances known at the time.
And I think that's why, I think, again, nobody's criticizing. It's so dry. It's been so dry so long, we think it's normal. And, hey, we can do it. But I think we're saying today it's not.
Sure. And with the ongoing dry conditions, are you guys going to be doing anything to kind of mitigate the risk going forward? Or do anything to try and prevent, beyond these bans? Like in future years?
Well, I think number one, no control burns, but then number two, everybody understands best practices. I mean, when you're out in the field, you got to make sure you're greasing all your bearings. You just got to do everything under the sun. In the harvest season, you blow your combines out. In the planting season, haying season, it's a whole different set of circumstances. But you do the best practice so you don't have sparks and you don't ignite something.
Governor, you've always talked about the people, for Nebraskans in Brown County or surrounding areas who need up-to-date information. Where should they look for the most up-to-date information?
It's a great question. The question Zach asked, talking about the people, where can people go to ask looking for help? And I think that either to Irv's team, the Nebraska Emergency Management Team, and the Brown County Emergency Management, but it's one of the weaknesses we have, right? We don't want to ask for help, but there's Laura mentioned it. There's going to be a lot of fence to fix. A lot of fence that's going to have to get fixed quickly. I can do a lot today, but I can't dig post holes yet for us. So I was thinking I could do everything, but that's what I couldn't do. So there will be a lot of need for help. Any other questions? Really thank all the press for being here to help us get that message out. It's really, really important that everybody in Nebraska is on the team, stays on the team, that we don't have burns.